It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a Super Bowl weekend, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host with his opinions from left field, John Riley, and we welcome you to Hacksaw's Headlines. This podcast is brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber. Been in business for more than 100 years. You got projects, they've got ideas, you need materials, they're your best friend. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, I told you so. How'd you enjoy Super Bowl weekend?
Yeah, you said it was going to be defense. You predicted the Seahawks, but how was the Super Bowl party? Did you have a good time?
It was good. The food was fabulous. The noise was ridiculous. And then I went in, I partied with everybody. I left to watch the game. I went back at halftime for second helpings of dessert. Went home, watched the rest of the game. Then we had all the work to do with the website. But it turned out like I thought it would turn out. Like I said, I told you so.
I told you so, yeah. Enough of that.
So anyhow, listen, we're going to go a lot of different directions on this podcast. We have a lot of different things planned. A lot of questions to be asked. We'll give you our opinions. We do sports talk the way it should be done. Topics on the table, lots of opinions. And when we're done, you take over this podcast. It's called Fans Forum. John, how does it work?
Fans Forum. You can pile in. We got a few guys already piling in now. XX Revolution and Rob was first in line. He's going to break the ice. So, hey, if you got any comments or questions in the world of sports, drop your take in the live chat on YouTube, X, and on Facebook.
Just a couple of reminders. We do a lot of unique things on this podcast, including you participating as a kind of co-host in Fans Forum, and we don't charge anything. The whole world charges for everything. You know, you live in California, your taxes are taxed now by the government, but we do this for free. But now you owe us. I am asking those of you who follow us on live stream, and then obviously those of you who watch us after the fact on the YouTube channel, please hit the follow button. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star ranking. Just do it right now if you're on live stream, because it really helps us grow this podcast at great length. Okay, John, let's get going. Super Bowl Sunday, got a lot to cover.
Do you really have 60 stories on the Super Bowl?
No, it's the headline is Super Bowl 60.
Oh!
With a dot, stories.
Okay.
Anyhow, let's just talk about what we just saw, what we just experienced. The headline this morning in the newspaper in Seattle, SuperHawks, ideal.
Nice.
From bust to beloved. That was the second headline, making reference to the Seattle quarterback. 29-13 pasting Seahawks over New England. A tidal wave from the Pacific Northwest of defense. That was impressive. 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, fumble recovery, 8 tackles for losses, 11 quarterback hits, and 8 pass deflections in the secondary. They checked off all the boxes. What the Seahawks did was spectacular. And Jason Myers, Chula Vista guy, 5 field goals for the Seattle Seahawks. The young running back, Kenneth Walker, out of Michigan State, an afterthought on the day of the draft years ago, 135 yards rushing. Sam Darnold survived near interceptions early when it was still nothing to throw for 202 and kind of busted it open. At one point, though, in the fourth quarter, this was the total offense. Seattle had 297 yards. New England had 78. That was at the start of the fourth quarter of that Super Bowl game. And they're really hurting in the state of New England right now. 617 area code. You know, back in 1985, Da Bears, Mike Ditka, all those guys, the Bears inflicted a 46-10 beatdown on the Patriots. This one kind of felt like that one along the way. But at the end of the day, Seattle's a complete football team. My goodness, they're really good. At the end of the day, New England was a young team with a kid quarterback, rookie left tackle, rookie left guard, and they just got overwhelmed. And, the bottom line in this whole situation is they couldn't run the ball in New England, and they could not pass protect. And there's no pages at the back of Josh McDaniels' playbook that are going to solve that set of circumstances that Seattle created for the New England offense that finally cratered and collapsed. They got a tough decision to make with Will Campbell. That's 4 straight playoff games in which his quarterback has taken a pounding. 21 quarterback sacks. That's what happened in the postseason to Drake May. So they have a tough decision. Move Campbell inside where he might be much better. He's a little undersized in terms of arm length to be a left tackle, and he just got bull rushed into submission. But he's still going to be a great player. And in terms of the quarterback, I think Drake May has to learn something. He has to learn the ball has to get out of there quicker. He can't sit there and hold it and think he can go through all of his progressions, because a lot of those 6 sacks were really caused by coverage in the secondary where he had nobody to throw to, and he kept waiting. Great quarterbacks will say, okay, I'll throw it away. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Don't take hits. Don't turn it over. Don't take big quarterback sacks. So it was a phenomenal performance. There's no doubt about it. A complete performance by Seattle. It was a learning curve performance, I think, for the New England Patriots. And by the way, on the out-of-town scoreboard, at halftime, Bad Bunny put on an amazing show. The choreography to me was beyond belief. And then there was the alternative program that your president said, you should watch this because I don't like Bad Bunny and what he represents. Well, the National Football League will be pleased. The out-of-town scoreboard says TV viewership at halftime was 135 million.
Hell yeah.
TV viewership for the alternative program with Kid Rock was 6 million. So I'm at this Super Bowl party down in my cul-de-sac. So at halftime, I walked in, and I counted 24 people in one living room on a big screen watching, obviously, Bad Bunny. Went to the back family room, and there were 4 people watching Kid Rock. So not a good day for the out-of-town scoreboard. I wonder if that'll be the balance when the midterm elections occur. Trump's people will get 6, and everybody else voting for Democrats will get 135. Oh, but we not supposed to talk politics. Huh? End of the day. How about them Superhawks? What a dominant performance. John, the podium belongs to you.
I'm really happy for Seattle, and especially Sam Darnold, like everything he's been through, and people were doubting him all the time. I doubted him all throughout the season, wondering if the old Sam Darnold was going to show up. But, he was interviewed after the game, and he really thanked his parents for always believing in him.
Tremendously humble.
Really, it's just a good guy, So, and he's, a SoCal dude, so you hope he does well. So it was nice. But, I'm watching that game in the beginning, and at first you're like, hey, I appreciate it's a defensive battle, right? I mean, which you talked about before with in our last show. But after a while, people in our room were like, we're not a real hardcore football people, but they're like, hey, this is a defensive showdown, but then still, Sam Darnold will still get that ball to Kenneth Walker, and then the Seattle offense would kind of get a little bit. And then the next possession they got a little bit more, and then suddenly Kenneth Walker is finding gaps, and then Sam Darnold had that one touchdown pass there. I think that might have been in the second half, but the offense was able to do more than just enough. But I'm just saying they were able to chip away, whereas the New England Patriots couldn't chip away at anything this whole game.
They had one stretch they had 7 3-and-out series in an 8-series combo.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal.
So at the end of the day, that was a complete Seattle Seahawks team, and that was a very young New England Patriots team that obviously will gain something and learn something from this as we go along. But it was lopsided. I was amazed this morning because I went to the fitness center early this morning. Everybody came up to talk to me about the Super Bowl, and everybody thought, oh, what a horrible game.
No.
It wasn't horrible. It was defense wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Running the ball wins. And that was a bunch of kids on the other side that kind of got overwhelmed by the whole thing. So you like Bad Bunny, huh?
That was really good, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just really trying to be objective here because the content of his shows, first of all, it's all this Latin, culture expression, and I thought that was great. I mean, of course, it was all in Espanol, and I didn't understand what he was saying except for the few words that were spoken in English. But all this came from a place of love.
It was vibrant.
It was vibrant, yeah. But I mean, even on the scoreboard, they had the big sign, the only thing that could overcome hate is love. But you just saw a lot of the passion and love that came out. You saw him interacting with the children, interacting with young adults, interacting with the old men that were playing, I think, chess on the picnic bench, and he had his Grammy moment in there and the electric line thing. And so he was telling a story that we could, at least I could understand. And in it, it was a lot of very positive American messages. There were many times throughout that presentation. So I say it was a good one. It wasn't as good as Prince. It wasn't as good as, let's just say, Michael Jackson or U2, but it was very good.
I'd give it an A-, and it was so complex. How in the world do they execute it? How do they practice it with all the things that he had to do and where he went and all the props? It was creative beyond belief.
Oh, it was great because it was clearly made for television, because if you were in the stands, you couldn't see in that sugarcane maze in there what he was doing, but they did a really good job. And all of a sudden, Lady Gaga's there and everything. So I liked it. I thought it was a good show. And by the way, back to the game, Will Campbell, man, they had him on skates, man. He was slipping and sliding. He couldn't do anything to protect his quarterback.
And even when they tried to double team or chip, they still got there with a 4-man rush.
It was unbelievable. He was just getting worked. I thought he was a really talented draft pick.
But he's a little undersized, I think, at left tackle from an arm length blocking standpoint. So everybody that I network with said this kid's going to be great. They'll move him inside to left guard. He'll really be spectacular. And then the second most important aspect of Super Bowl Sunday, the commercials.
Okay.
Now, I couldn't grade all of them because I kind of ran out of brain power. My favorite one was the Dunkin' Donuts Cheers Goodwill Hunting commercial.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I thought that was real. I looked at it and I said, wait a minute. They're making reference to what? And the next thing they're making reference to, I thought that was the best one. I really thought that, I don't know if you caught this, the T-Mobile had a commercial with a 4-guy group singing, and it was Tell Me Why, which is an offshoot of the Backstreet Boys, which is very popular. I thought that commercial caught my attention. And then TurboTax with Adrian Brody.
Yeah,
that was bizarre, but that was really, really good. Those were the ones just off the top of my head that caught my attention.
Yeah, I mean, the Dunkin' Donuts was great. I mean, it was Cheers versus, George Costanza was in that as well. So you had a Seinfeld connect, and there were it's almost too many people. I mean, it was
takeoff of Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, and then they had the characters from Friends and everything else. So that was fun. What was the one commercial? Yeah, the Ring doorbell commercial. I thought it was interesting that they've created this network where, if you lose your dog, they can deploy all of those Ring cameras to try to find a lookalike for the dog. That was pretty innovative.
Yeah.
But the commercials aren't nearly as big of a deal as they seem to be.
Back in the day.
Yeah, 20, 30 years ago. It seems like now it's almost like a lot of AI, computing platforms. They're clearly business commercials. So it's not the same.
Some of them are way too much Star Wars like.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're an NFL fan. How about them Superhawks? Let's talk about Seattle. Let's talk about what happened to the state of New England. They're feeling pretty bad today. Maybe not as bad as 1985 when the refrigerator William Perry and Jim McMahon beat them 46-10, but this was pretty bad beatdown because it was so dominant right towards the tail end. So join us. Fans Forum chat box is open to talk about Super Bowl Sunday. John, we're not done with football. A lot more to cover here. Next topic.
Yeah, we do. Let's go to the NFL Notebook.
Yeah, let's just jump around here and just talk about storylines. NFL Notebook, Cleveland Browns. Jim Schwartz has walked away, tendered his letter of resignation. Now, he's got 2 years left on his contract. He's just told the Browns, you bypassed me as head coach. I don't want to work here. Now, at the end of the day, this guy did some creatively brilliant stuff with Myles Garrett and made the Browns the talk of the town in the entire NFL on defense. Now, he must have a higher regard for himself as a head coach, because when he was head coach in Detroit, dude went 29-51. Now, why would you walk away from defensive coordinator's job? Because they offered him a pay bump to make him assistant head coach and stay as defensive coordinator and work with Myles Garrett. So we'll see now if they're going to release him, or would the Browns ask for a draft pick if somebody wants to hire Jim Schwartz. But the other thing is all the jobs are filled. I mean, every 15 minutes, somebody else is getting hired to fill a coordinator's job, an assistant coaching job, since all 10 of the head coaching jobs have been filled. So that's item one. Second one is the Rams. It's a pretty good hire. Cliff Kingsbury, who left the Redskins. Cliff Kingsbury is coming to the Rams to work as the passing game coordinator with Matthew Stafford under Sean McVay. Going to be very interesting to see what dynamics there. And, of course, Rams lost Mike LaFleur, who became the head coach in Arizona. So Kingsbury winds up with a very important job with a really great quarterback. You look at Kingsbury's resume, didn't do well as head coach in Arizona, went to Washington, though, and he played a key role in the development of their quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Third one is the New York Football Giants. I don't know how this is going to work, but they just hired Greg Roman, the deposed, fired offensive coordinator of the Chargers. Greg Roman, he goes to the New York Giants to work with Jackson Dart. Washington Redskins, that's correct, not the current-day Washington Commanders. Washington Redskins. Sonny Jurgensen passes away. Legendary quarterback. Started in Philadelphia. He was the one that replaced Norm Van Brocklin after they won the NFL championship in the early 1960s. They got traded to the Redskins, and he resurrected a really bad football franchise with this slingshot throwing motion. He was the life of the party. I met him early years when I was doing Chargers football. He was still doing Redskins on radio with Sam Huff. Frank Herzog, really popular broadcast team, but left in place a long time. Sonny Jurgensen, he'd wear a championship ring, he'd smoke cigars, he'd have a cowboy hat. He was a Duke University graduate.
Wow.
But he loved life. He wound up with 255 touchdowns, 189 interceptions. And I asked him about that in one pregame interview I did with him when we played the Redskins. I said, what about that stat? He's puffing on this big freaking Havana cigar. He says, let me tell you, son. He called me son. Let me tell you, son. You throw the ball as much as we threw the ball, you're going to get some pick. We don't care. That's the exact same philosophy Dan Fouts had. So anyhow, Sonny Jurgensen passes away. He was involved in a quarterback-for-quarterback trade. You know, modern-day football, you and I talked about Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff. Sonny Jurgensen was with Philadelphia. Washington had drafted a young quarterback out of Wake Forest by the name of Norm Snead, who was pretty good. They got traded for each other. And Jurgensen wound up going to Washington. Snead went to Philly and played very well for a chunk of time, and Jurgensen became an icon and a personality in the nation's capital. So Sonny Jurgensen passes away at 91. Tell you, the dude never missed a closing night in the bar. He loved his shots of Jack Daniels, and he lived every minute of every day. He was a really unique person. Atlanta Falcons. They have told Kirk Cousins, the quarterback, you will be released.
Wow.
Now, they've restructured his contract. Cousins has a cap figure of $68 million. If he's on the team in March, he's going to be let go. The question is, where does Kirk Cousins wind up? And this is a really interesting story in Pittsburgh. Steelers, Mike McCarthy. He's hired a whole staff. Now they're going to look at the roster. Guess who's available, who's just indicated he's going to come back, wants to return to the NFL after last year sitting out recovering from surgery? Derek Carr.
Oh.
Ex-Raider, ex-New Orleans Saint. He's put up a lot of numbers over the course of his career, wants to come back. Derek Carr, Pittsburgh, instead of Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh. Interesting to see what Mike McCarthy is going to do. So those are hot topic stories around the National Football League now that the Super Bowl is completed. John, pick up the ball, don't fumble it.
There's some good storylines in here, but, with the Jim Schwartz deal in Cleveland, whenever you get passed over for a promotion, especially if you see a guy come out from outside the organization, you're going to feel very overlooked. I mean, that's a relationship that's just soured, especially for Jim Schwartz. So I can see why he wants to find another place, right? I mean, but where do you think he's going to land?
There's no place to go. All the jobs are filled. Any other thing, what's that stapled to your resume?
Defense.
Yeah, defense, yes, as a coordinator. But what's stapled to your resume? You were 29-51 in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big issue.
Well, who ended up getting that job again? Or has...
Todd Monken went from Baltimore to the Cleveland Browns.
That's right. Okay. And then, by the way, the Sonny Jorgensen, I mean, that's a name that goes way back.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of like from around 1970 or later, like the 60s, the 50s, to me is a blur, some of my memories. But help me out with understanding the Sonny Jorgensen era. Jorgensen era.
Jorgensen.
Oh, pardon me. Jorgensen.
Jurgensen. Jurgensen.
Is there a Jorgensen player in some other sport, or am I getting that mixed up?
You're mixed up.
I'm mixed up. Okay. So, Sonny Jurgensen. And Billy Kilmer.
Yeah.
So weren't they both quarterbacks for the Redskins, and didn't one of them also play receiver? I'm a little confused.
Kilmer wound up getting traded from the 49ers to Washington, was the backup, and then wound up playing when Jurgensen tore his Achilles. And then Billy played for George Allen. George Allen, this is old school George Allen, defense, run the damn foot. He didn't like Sonny Jurgensen, but he was stuck with him because the guy was an icon. And then he got hurt, and that was the end of it, and Sonny had to retire because George didn't like him. And Billy Kilmer was George Allen's quarterback in Washington.
Okay, all right. So, a little history lesson.
Glad to teach you. Us guys with gray hair, you may say old, I say experienced and knowledgeable. Prime example with him.
Okay.
Okay, next topic.
All right, what are we doing here? Oh, yeah, we got some expansion notes in the Mountain West.
Okay, we're talking college football here. How much is in your checking account? You want to write a check? We can get you a team that you could put in the Mountain West Conference.
Really?
Mountain West Conference this morning accepted the offer of a bid. North Dakota State, legendary 1AA program, is paying $12 million to enter the Mountain West Conference immediately. Wow. Football only. Now, that makes 0 sense geographically. It makes 0 sense historically. But, of course, the Mountain West Conference lost all of its marquee teams who jumped to the Pac-12, so the Mountain West is scrambling. Mountain West is also talking to Sacramento State, which has a new president a year ago and is trying to go big time. Sacramento State has evidently offered $10 million entrance fee if somebody will take them in. Maybe they wind up in the Mountain West Conference too. But North Dakota State's got a great program. They've been 16 times. They have been in postseason play in 1AA football, and they have 10 1AA championships. It's a really good program, but John, North Dakota, it's out there.
Well, they just added Northern Illinois.
I know.
That's even worse, I mean, as far as a travel partner.
So this is your new Mountain West Conference. The ones that are left behind, the Wyomings and the Air Forces and the New Mexicos, those guys are now welcoming Northern Illinois, Texas El Paso, Hawaii, and North Dakota State.
The Mountain West has got bills to pay.
Travel, baby.
Well, it's not, I mean, they've got to pay. Don't they have guaranteed money for UNLV?
Exactly.
And there's a couple of deals they've made, and then the TV revenue is not as much as they hoped. And I don't know. I just wonder if the conference is in financial trouble. But I do like the addition of these two teams. I mean, yeah, like North Dakota State, we've been hearing all about them. Is it D2 or is it 1AA?
1AA.
1AA.
Really good program, but
give them a promotion.
It's
yeah.
out there. Jeez. I mean, I'm just absolutely stunned.
Are the Montana schools better than the North Dakota, South Dakota football schools?
But they are all cut from the same cloth, but the Montana schools seem to have much tighter financial restrictions than North Dakota State, North Dakota does.
Okay.
So that's where we are. That's the latest in college football. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the Wyoming, North Dakota State rivalry that's going to be – the travel is just going to be unbearable in that conference.
Yeah. I mean, North Dakota State isn't at elevation, but
North
still.
Dakota State is near the Arctic Circle.
Yeah. I mean, is that like near Fargo or Bismarck or something like that? I mean, yeah. And by the way, I get all the North Dakota State – and there's North Dakota, University of North Dakota, and then South Dakota State and University of South Dakota. And some of them are Division II, some of them are Division 1A, some of them are really good in hockey. But to me, they're all a blur.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a blur because it freaking snows there. You can't see across the street. So it's this whole Mountain West thing, life after the San Diego States and the Boise States. This is so bizarre. We'll see what happens. Okay, we are at halftime. This podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years in San Diego. Lots of reasons for you to do business at Dixieline. Let's talk about doors and windows because that's what I got at Dixieline. It's made a whole difference in my house. That's what he's got here in the castle at our studios. John, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, here you're seeing the video of some of the sliding doors. They call these big doors. And they open and shut like accordions. Sometimes they actually will disappear into walls. They're really cool. They allow you to... If you're entertaining at your place at the Hacksaw Castle and you want to have the patio and the inside of the house have an open common area that's kind of indoors, outdoors, these kinds of big doors are great. But hey, window replacements. I got a front door from Dixieline and it's great. It looks like a castle door with a speakeasy, kind of a little window opening there.
Yeah, we need code words to get inside the house now.
So it's kind of neat. So I mean, if you're just looking for an inexpensive replacement window, Dixieline's got it. If you want to do something on the high end with your front doors or your big doors going out to your patio, Dixieline can help you there too.
Dixieline.com. Just check out all the things they have, including their special tools section. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, you'll be impressed. Dixieline.com. We were at halftime Monday, coming off the Super Bowl. SuperHawks. We're talking that. When we're done with topics on the table, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, you take over this podcast. It's called Fans Forum. John, how do people that are on live stream join us live? And for those that watch it after the fact, how can they get involved the next time?
Okay, so if you're watching the live stream, then jump on board where we're live streaming, which is YouTube, X, and Facebook. But if you are watching a recording of this, if you go into the YouTube comments, we will often include social media comments at the end of Fans Forum. So that's how we can get you folks involved. And there's we got Super Bowl comments on the Chargers. We got comments on Bad Bunny that are loading in here, Lee.
So join us, Fans Forum. When we're done, you take over the podcast. Couple of other items. I write about sports every day of the week on my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Invite you to read the best 15 minutes in sports that I wrote this morning. Invite you to read my Super Bowl recap in my One Man's Opinion column. And by the way, when you go to my website, you can join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. There's a big orange box on the homepage. When you fill out that, you get on the email list and you get 2 newsletters. John and I send out 2 sports newsletters every day of the week, Monday through Friday. So join us there. Want you to share? Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, you will get the alert every time we put additional videos up on the YouTube channel. Want you to join me on social media. Just type in Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button, or my handle is at Hacksaw1090. Hit the follow button. That way you can take part in everything that's on Twitter, but everything that involves me, be part of my Twitter all-star team.
Join me.
Stop laughing, dummy. So lots of ways for you to follow all the different things we have on this award-winning podcast. And by the way, we don't charge for anything. The whole world charges for everything. We just found out you live in California. They're taxing your taxes now. So think about that. But we do this out of the goodness of our heart because we like to share sports with you. Now, suddenly, the rules might change. Suddenly, you owe us. I'm asking you to hit the follow button, you to hit the forward thumbs up button, you to give us a 5-star rating. Do it right now because that really helps us grow this podcast. But we enjoy having you there. We're just doing a little bit differently than anybody else. And we do damn good podcasting, just like we did damn good sports talk.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay, we move on.
Okay.
Second half, where do we go?
We're talking Padres. Have they solved the pitching problem?
Well, let's just start here with the philosophy. Favorite phrase of baseball fans, whether you're in the sunshine in San Diego or you're in a snowdrift in Buffalo, New York, and there's a lot of that going on, pitchers and catchers report. That's the most favorite phrase there is. Let's talk about the Padres situation. They're going to spring training by the end of this week. They have not solved the pitching problem. I think collectively with what they've added to the roster in terms of pinch hitters, utility guys, I think their everyday order and the bench is going to be okay. And they have the best bullpen in baseball. But that being said, they don't have enough starting pitching. But, John, the biggest fear to me, they don't have any money left. There's guys coming off the board at this hour today. There's been a flurry of signings today. Padres haven't signed anybody. So I just don't think – I think they're tapped. I think the spigot's been turned off on A.J. Preller. These are the guys that are still available as of this afternoon. Zach Gallen in Arizona. But if you sign Zach Gallen, A, he wants big money. B, you have to give up a second-round draft pick as compensation. So I just don't think the Padres are in the running. Chris Bassett is still out there, the ex-Toronto Blue Jay. Jose Quintana, who pitched for part of the season in Milwaukee but had arm problems, is there. Walker Buehler is still available, the ex-Dodger Red Sox. German Marquez, who had a really good group of years in Colorado and then had surgery twice, came back at the end of last season, was competitive. He's still unsigned. Lucas Gialito, the White Sox, Red Sox, is still out there, but he had arm problems, shoulder problems. Nick Martinez just came off the board within an hour. Nick Martinez has just signed a $14 million contract in Tampa. Wow. Which is amazing. Zach Littell, ex-Tampa Bay starter, is still there. I'm trying to remember.
Sonny.
Not Sonny Gray. He's already been signed. I'm not quite sure where that name came from. Michael Kopech is available. Oh, that should be John Gray. John Gray, the ex-Colorado Rocky, Texas Ranger, but he's coming off shoulder woes, and I don't think he's going to be ready to pitch at the start of the season. And then Michael Kopech, the ex-Dodgers. So of the list that are guys that are still out there, I just don't – they can't afford to give up a number 2 draft pick and give Gallen what Gallen wants, which might be $11 to $15 million a year. Gialito, prices come down, but there's a history of problems there. Bassett, to me, is the one that's more likely to be a Padre. But if that's the case, how come he's not a Padre as of now? Martinez is gone. Quintana is iffy. Littell has never been dominant. I really like Walker Buehler, but maybe they can't afford Buehler. I would think the price tag on the ex-Dodger would be a lot lower. John Gray's got health issues. Marquez, big health issues. Kopech, we don't need another reliever. So, John, what do they do with pitching? Because I think they're a day late and $1 short.
Yeah, I mean, the only names on that list that look interesting to me are Gallen and then maybe Nick Martinez. But like you said, he's gone.
Right.
So, I mean, it's almost like you're better off, just trying to figure out a way to do it in a trade or to give some of your young guys opportunity, because any one of these guys is not going to, take a major league minimum, and they're going to probably break down, and they're going to probably be very number 4, number 5 starter, kind of just struggling to get through. So I don't know. I mean,
but Bassett pitched in the World Series. If he's my number 4 starter, that's okay by me.
Yeah.
There is a track record there. I like Buehler. I think Buehler's got electric stuff, and he's still got youth on his side.
Well,
and he had the good first half of last year in Boston before he, kind of hit a wall.
Yeah, well, before his most recent Tommy John, he was fantastic.
Yes.
So, but what do you think something's going on here because of ownership and the potential transition of ownership, or are we waiting on the Yu Darvish money, or what's in the way? Do you think
their payroll is $224 million right now, and then you add in a $9 million luxury tax payment? That's what the tax bill would be due on 224. So if you're going to go higher than 224, that means your luxury tax is going higher. And I think this is about as high as this ownership group wants to go. Now, the only way to make it better is trade somebody. But if you trade somebody, Cronenworth, that's $10 million a year off the books. If you trade him, now you got a hole at second base. Or the alternative is, Yu Darvish, give us the $14 million now so we can go get Chris Bassett. Now, that's not going to cost you $14 million. It might cost you $5 million. But get Darvish to make a decision or informed Darvish, we want you to give us the $14 million back for this first year. We'll defer the rest of it till we see if you can pitch again next year. They've got to find a way to come up with some more liquidity.
Yeah, so it just seems like A.J. Preller's arms maybe were tied behind his back until a lot of these bigger questions are resolved.
Yeah, so that's where we are. You're a Padre fan. Invite you to jump on board, give us an opinion. I like the rest of the roster, but at the end of the day, I still think they're woefully short. Next topic on the table, the notebook.
Bad boys, big troubles.
Whew. Let's just talk about these guys. You do remember Emmanuel Clase, Cleveland, closer, ace out of the bullpen. Well, the FBI investigation into him and sports gambling connection has now grown. Now the Washington Post has reported they are investigating a total of 48 games that he may have been involved in throwing bad pitches over a 2-year window in Cleveland, in which bets were placed for $460,000. In other words, and what they did was they went back and reviewed all the betting in Vegas and all these casinos of games that Clase pitched, and suddenly a wild number of bets were bet on the first pitch of his first inning out of the bullpen in Cleveland. 48 different times. There were surges in bets on Clase's first pitch out of the bullpen.
That's a red flag.
Oh, do you think? So now they've investigated and they got information because they got people that I think at plea bargain deals who said, yeah, Clase was the conduit of the information. So now this Clase thing, he's going to prison. Now it stretches 48 tainted games over a 2-year window in Cleveland. The other thing, the other guy, YASIEL Puig, once a power hitter, he's in just enormous trouble. He's got a gambling addiction, and he lied to federal authorities, and then he made a plea bargain, and then he reneged on the plea bargain. I don't understand where his mentality is in terms of why you're conducting this business and where his lawyers and his legal representation is in this. He made 899 bets in a 3-month span, and he lost $283,000. And then he lied to the FBI about his involvement with the Newport Beach guy that was running the scam. And then they offered him a plea bargain to testify, and he was going to testify, and then he reneged on the plea bargain. He's looking at 15 to 20 years in prison. It's just absolutely stunning. So we got Clase, we got Puig.
I remember when Puig hit the scene, and we were like, who the hell is this guy?
Well, it came from Cuba. Nobody knew except baseball and the Dodgers.
I mean, I remember being at spring training at Camelback Ranch, and I saw him batting third, and I'm like, who is he? You know, and boy, he came out all guns a-blazing. Yep. He was very entertaining, and I was like, hey, this is pretty fun.
He had like 600 the first month he was in Major League Baseball. That he put on a show at San Diego's Jack Murphy Stadium or whatever, Qualcomm Stadium, when the Padres are still playing there.
Was it really? Does he go back that far?
I think so.
He might. Maybe he does. But I just remember when he was just, like Mr. Entertainment when he was running the bases.
He's all energy.
Yeah, but then obviously you could see the character started to come through, and I mean that in a bad way, with the Dodgers, and then went to hell in a handbasket and he's gone. But it doesn't surprise me that he's in trouble like this. But you look at these two guys, and Emmanuel Clase, you've thrown away all this money, this future. He could be making tens of millions of dollars a year, but he just does these rinky-dink bets and screws it. So this just goes to show you that the guys that are playing sports at the highest level, A, are not the sharpest tools in the shed. B, probably are getting a lot of maybe poor guidance. Maybe their parents aren't as impactful in their life, or maybe they have a poor education, or maybe, they just have issues that they need to resolve. Because this is not normal behavior.
Yeah, these guys go into prison. It's an awful, awful story. So you're a baseball fan. Anybody remember, what Vince Scully called him? Wild horse.
I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
And God, he played with such vibrancy. And
he was incredible.
Wild swinger and all that. But then the flaws showed up. Suddenly, he wasn't a great defensive player. And suddenly, they started to pitch him differently. And then suddenly, he struck out. And then suddenly, it became a clubhouse problem with the Dodgers. And then suddenly, he was gone.
Yes.
And he's bounced all over the place.
Well, he's in Korea most recently.
He was playing in Korea. Then he was in Mexico. And it's just an awful story of bad mistakes. Okay, all things baseball, feel free, join us Next topic, hoops.
Hoops. It's all over. The guys are gone.
Yeah, that's the phrase of today. We came through the NFL or the NBA trading deadline last week. 27 trades in all. Just a staggering amount. And a lot of blockbuster trades with a lot of blockbuster names. Let's start with Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers traded Harden. The Clippers traded Zubac. The Clippers traded Chris Paul. Kawhi Leonard is the last man standing. They've won a couple games. Now, Kawhi scored 41 last night. He's taken all the shots. There's nobody else on the roster that is really a quality play. And Leonard, who is very soft-spoken, very quiet, and rather introverted, he was asked his reaction to all of his teammates being gone. And his reaction was, it's over, guys. All these guys are gone. He stopped short of saying, I'm going to ask to be traded, but he does ask to be traded in this offseason. Now, they're in total rebuild mode. The Clippers stockpile, they got a 1, a 2, and a 2, plus $7 million cap space when they traded Chris Paul. But they have zero talent on the roster outside of Kawhi Leonard, so that story bears watching. How about the Dallas situation? Anthony Davis, second guy there. He's gone. He goes to Washington. Holy cow. So you go from Laker basketball with all the banners and the history and the legacy, go to Dallas, and you are caught in the crossfire of the rage from the fans and the season ticket holders directed at the organization, and then you get hurt. You get hurt in the first game you ever play in Dallas, and you keep getting hurt. And now you get traded to the woebegone Washington Wizards, who haven't won in ages. And he's not ready to play, and he said, I'm probably not going to play the rest of the season. What a disaster. Anthony Davis, 1 calendar year. He was traded on the first anniversary that week of when he came to Dallas. He played 25 games in 1 calendar year and had 5 different injuries.
Sent to an outpost, too.
Foreign outpost. He's not a bad guy. He's not a bad citizen. He's just a guy that's got a black cloud that hangs over him. The third one is Jonathan Kuminga, Golden State. He's in Atlanta. So he got his freedom. He goes to Atlanta, which has no chance of winning because they've traded all their players away. That's another foreign outpost. And John Kuminga shows up with a bruised knee, bone bruise on his knee, out indefinitely. What a disaster of a trade that is. And then obviously the fourth one is James Harden. And now he's been traded 4 times. 4 times he demanded he wanted out from wherever he was. Can he still play? Yes. Is there baggage? Hell yes. Now he goes to Cleveland. And James Harden said, I did not ask for this trade, but we're going to be in the playoffs in Cleveland. I'm going to try to help them because they've got a pretty good young team there, try to help them get there. The only problem I have with Harden going to Cleveland is whole offense has to run through him. And when he has the ball, bounce, 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 everybody stands around, bounce, bounce, bounce. Is he going to take a shot? Is he going to drive to the basket? Does he initiate the offense? No, he runs the play for himself. So I just don't know that that's a good fit for Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Cleveland's got some really good players there, so that's weird. So, boy, bizarre trade deadline for those guys.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder because as a fan, we kind of link players with teams, right, emotionally. And so if a player leaves a team, especially if it's one of our favorite players on our team, if it's a big loss, right, emotionally. But for the perspective of a player, I wonder if they just sort of accept this. Like, James Harden's figuring, hey, man, I'm a pro ball player. I'm making this much money. And, yeah, I play for Philadelphia. I play for Houston. I play for the Clippers. And to him, it doesn't really matter where he gets traded to. It's just all part of being a pro. You know what I mean?
Or being what he wants to be, which is me.
Yeah. So it just makes me wonder about do the players, do they really care about the team that they're representing? Or is it to them they're almost interchangeable?
It's a payday.
That's what I mean, yeah.
It's just bizarre. 27 trades in all in the 3 days wrapped around the trade deadline. We go from that. Hot headlines are next. Man, what a busy weekend we had.
Yeah, we got some skiing at the top.
Let's just talk about the Olympics. Let's talk about Lindsey Vonn. I saw it live. Oh, my. It was terrible. I was at the TV station at KUSI because they had me do a special Sunday package for the Super Bowl, and we just stood there and watched Lindsey come out of the gate. 13 seconds down the hill, misses the first jump, hits the gate, goes sideways, ski digs into the hill sideways, and she goes down, down, down. She went more than 100 yards tumbling down with her skis like this, fractured her ankle, injured that knee again on top of the knee injury that she had prior, on top of the reconstructive knee replacements she had. A lot of second-guessing. She should not have been allowed to come back on the course because she obviously missed the first gate because there was weakness in the right knee. She was wearing a very heavy knee brace, and this is just catastrophic. But at the end of the day, this was a really special athlete. I don't think we'll ever see her in a downhill ski event again. She's won 84 events. She's won 4 championships. She's won 3 gold medals. It was just really tough to see, and you knew she was in pain, and she was in the middle of the slope by herself, and they had audio of her screaming because the pain was so bad. And it took a while for the medics to get there, and then they brought the helicopter in and had to fly her 80 miles to the hospital where she was. Then she had emergency surgery to set the fractures in the leg. Great, great athlete. What great history for Lindsey Vonn. So that's item one. Second one is your president. What a weekend. Olympic ice skaters and Olympic skiers asked about what's going on in America, had a lot of negative things to say just about the entire White House. Chris Lillis, an Olympic skier, said President Trump was a national disgrace. Michaela Schifrin, the great skier, says he's become an embarrassment to our country, at which point Trump responded, those Olympians, they're losers. They don't agree with me, they're losers, which has now offended everybody else in the Olympic Village, and the general consensus is, and today, Chloe Klein, who's a gold medal skater, said we need unity in America right now, and we need Olympic Village unity. And what she was referenced to, our Olympic athletes are unified, that they dislike Donald Trump for all the things he does and says, especially about them. So Trump's got all kinds of problems. Just enormous problems. You'd think. And now he's embarrassed or tried to embarrass those people. Just a terrible, terrible story. Next one, the hockey player. Guess who's at the Olympics just got there? We know all the legendary stars from the NHL have flown in this week. First guy who checked in at the hotel, San Diego Gull, LUKAS DOSTAL.
Hey.
Swedish goaltender who came here, played 2 years here, played really well. He is the goaltender of the Anaheim Ducks. He will be the starting goaltender for Team Sweden. He was the first guy that checked in. He checked in early because he wanted to go through the Olympic Village experience.
Good for him.
How cool a story
right on.
is about that. And he's one of ours, LUKAS DOSTAL, San Diego Gull. Fourth one, this is a really sad story. We talked about this last month. That's NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. He passed away, killed in a fiery plane crash in Statesville, North Carolina. He was a commercial pilot, had all kinds of licensing. Not only was a really good NASCAR driver, he did a lot of charitable stuff with his planes and helicopters to help flood victims in the mountainous regions, North Carolina. Anyhow, National Transportation Safety Board just came out with the report that he was not at the controls of his private Lear jet that crashed in flames as he was trying to make an emergency landing back in. He had a friend that was with him who was a fully qualified pilot, but all the dials went crazy when they were taking off, and they decided they were going to go back to the airport, and they were on approach to make a landing. But the main pilot was trying to sort out what was going on technically on the screens and the board. Guy that was in the co-pilot seat, and it was not Biffle, it was another guy, was not qualified to fly that jet. So that's a burning question why Greg Biffle was not on the co-pilot seat, because maybe he would have gotten him out. And evidently this co-pilot brought him in too low, and they hit these light stanchions, and the plane blew up and erupted. It's a very sad ending to what happened to Greg Biffle and his family, but they say that Greg Biffle was not the pilot at the controls there. And the third one, the last picture on the upper right-hand side, I had too many pictures, so I'll do this differently next time.
You said include the pictures.
Okay. Is DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau has sat there and he watched Brooks Koepka get out of the LIV and come back to the PGA Tour. DeChambeau's contract has options. He could opt out at the end of this coming season. And they launched their season in LIV this weekend. And he said, we didn't sign up to play for this. He's really upset that the LIV has invoked a 72-hole rule. Their tournaments used to be 54. They're playing the 72. And DeChambeau says, you acquiesced to the PGA and you said, we'll play 72 holes so we can have tournaments just like the PGA does, and you never got the merger done. He said, we didn't sign up to play 72 holes. This is interesting to see where this whole DeChambeau thing goes after Brooks Koepka came back stateside. John, go ahead, talk about Lindsey Vonn. I mean, what a spectacular athlete. What a horrible thing to see.
She's a warrior.
Yes.
She's a pretty face, of course, but she's a legit hardcore athlete that's a champion. But I was just shocked that I thought she blew out her ACL. How in the hell do you go down a hill? I mean, she obviously had some kind of a knee brace on.
Having a knee brace, she did 2 practice runs there in Italy the 2 days prior to that downhill event, and she had no problems at that point. But she came flying out of the gate, and the first thing was a jump across. And when she jumped, she either misjudged it or she did not land correctly, and she hit the gate and then went sideways and then dun, 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 dun. And on skis, her legs got trapped.
Well, I didn't see the video of it, but I did see a still image of her going sideways, kind of like off the side of the mountain,
yep.
Like off away from the course. And it just looked like a brutal crash. So, you got to tip a hat to her for her career and her accomplishments, but clearly this is the end of the road for her.
Yeah. And the rehab's going to be extensive because she's got knee damage, which needs surgery. And now she had the emergency surgery for the fractured lower leg and ankle.
Wow.
Tough.
Yeah. And what the hell, Trump? I mean, they booed J.D. Vance in the opening ceremonies.
3 minutes in a row. They just booed him nonstop as the Americans were entering the stadium for the parade.
But I'll give credit to the Italian fans. They properly cheered the athletes and booed the politicians, so they were able to separate the two, which is good. But, again, this is just such ridiculousness that, the Olympics should all be about good vibes, right? And so why does it get politicized, and why in the hell is our president politicizing it?
Why is he attacking the athletes?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, everything about this situation is nuts. And I hate, the politics to me is interesting, but this is a sports show, and we try to keep it sports. But damn it, these two crisscross a lot.
Just amazing.
It is. It's insane.
Unbelievable. Okay, those are topics on the table. We got an absolute ton of things to talk about. Now it's your turn to join us. It's called Fans Forum. You got questions, we got answers. You got statements to make. Jump on board right there into the chat box. Tell us what you think about any of these issues or any of the past issues that we've covered. This podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business more than 100 years. Got projects, they got materials. Want ideas? They can be your best friend, your consultant. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. John, I'm ready. You're ready. Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. I mean, I teed up here. This was Robbie. He said he was first in. I hope I don't crack under the pressure. I guess he didn't have a question for us, but let's go down here to Sports Fan. Hey, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, what was the first concert at the Super Bowl halftime show? Also, when did the first Super Bowl commercials? Also, my favorite Super Bowl commercial was Bud Weiss or the Frog's Corner.
There's too many commercials, good commercials over too many years. I don't know. What was the first concert? I saw a video this week of one of the original NFL championship games, and they had a guy doing a speed thing down the sidelines on what looked like a snowmobile.
Yeah.
And then it went upside down. And that was the halftime show, was that. There used to be, back then, it used to be college bands and all that.
Yeah.
And now it's what we saw yesterday, which was unbelievable.
Well, did the whole concert thing maybe start in the 80s? It might have, but yeah, because throughout the 70s and early 80s, it was definitely marching bands or it was like some kind of a commercial presentation on the field. But, it's cool how the Super Bowl has gone. I mean, I love the name Super Bowl, by the way. You got the Orange Bowl and the Rose Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl, and then we have the Super Bowl. It's a fun event, and I think the Super Bowl is a fun event because a lot of non-sports fans find ways to make it an entertaining day for them too.
Well, the NFL has just expanded the marketing tentacles of the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny was directly imposed because they wanted to lure the great Hispanic sports fan and his family in the community. Bad Bunny leads the music industry in terms of Spanish language music.
So they want to play NFL games in Central America and South America.
So, I mean, that's the rationale as to why they did this. Yeah. Just like Taylor Swift, all the Swifties. That's why.
Taylor Swift still, I don't think, has done a Super Bowl.
No, but at the end of the day, they're marketing towards that group.
Oh, I get you.
Of fans.
Yeah, those are the new fans.
Yep.
We're not a bunch of old crotchety fans like you and me. Okay.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, I will. All right, let's go here to Richard. Hey, that Super Bowl was god-awful. I had more enjoyment at the DMV. Hopefully the Major League Baseball takes notice. Game 6 and 7 was epic. 51 million watched. Don't ruin it. Halftime show was crap.
Well, it depends what your music taste is. I wanted to experience it. Everybody that I was with at this little cul-de-sac Super Bowl party that I go to every year in Rancho Bernardo, they don't speak Spanish, but they were enthralled by the music. They were
Spanish.
They were enthralled by the music. They were enthralled by the scenery, the decorum, and just the choreography was just absolutely phenomenal. So to them, it was a great event. I was just magnetized to look at it and say, that's pretty cool how they executed this. It's not my demographic, but that's okay.
No, but it was there were a lot of really positive messages in it, about love and culture and family and respect of elders.
And they did it without making a political statement, because I did expect a political statement.
Well, there were so many BS things. They said, oh, yeah, Bad Bunny's going to come out in a dress, and people trying to make this into something that it was not. And so I think it was good that they took the high road, in the presentation of this, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I had definitely Caribbean vibes.
I forgot to mention at 9:30 yesterday morning. Did you pay any attention? No, I know that our mascot, we have a beagle here, is the podcast mascot, Sniffer. Sniffer was in front of the TV to watch the Doggy Bowl.
Or wasn't it called the Puppy Bowl?
Puppy Bowl.
Yeah. And
I watched. I said, this is what everybody's writing and talking about, dogs pulling on bones, trying to get across the goal line?
It's just more of the shtick. What did you think of the line? It was on the Pat McAfee show, and they were commenting, him and his crew, about saying, geez, we got here to San Francisco for the Super Bowl. It's really nice here. Everyone's been telling us this is a crap city, and it's just homelessness, and it's a disaster, but it's beautiful. It's just funny how people were getting fed a lot of bad, misinformation.
You were president.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Next one.
Okay, let's go here to Gary. Boy, was I wrong about the Super Bowl being a shootout. But I was right about Kenneth Walker III, or current Super Bowl MVP. New England's own line got pushed around pretty good, reminding me of Herbert.
I'll tell you what. They got a lot of deep thought thinking to go through in New England as to what they're going to do just to fix the flaws. And that left tackle, left guard, those are really good football players, but maybe they're not in the right position. The quarterback is exceptional, but he held the football way too much trying to make a play. And the end result is, the 4 games of statistics in the postseason, there's no doubt about the fact Drake May took way too many sacks, had too many turnovers, way too many hits. And that's just the byproduct of being a young kid quarterback. And, of course, I thought about him and the pounding he got, just like I thought about Justin Herbert and all this. He took 60 sacks this season, which is way too much. So defense ruled, and I knew I was going to have to come in and tell this guy, I told you so.
Well, by the way, that shirt you're wearing, that's the original Seahawk logo, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, well, the logo's on the other side there. Yeah, on the left there. Mm-hmm. No, not on the left sleeve, like on the left, breast pocket area.
I'm sorry, there it is.
Yeah. That's the old logo. But still, it's a cool look.
Stylized different colors now, but yeah.
Yeah, right on. All good. It was a good, I mean, Kenneth Walker has a little Barry Sanders in him, don't you think? Kind of real shifty, the way he kind of changes directions.
Not as...
Well, Barry Sanders was on a different planet.
Kenneth Walker, very patient in the backfield. They talked. Chris Collinsworth mentioned that a bunch of times. Watch this guy just slow down, wait for holes or seams to develop, and then go.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's got an extra gear. He's a really good football player.
Okay, let's go here to music to my ears. Thank you for the donation. Hey, what do you know about the rumored people interested in buying the Padres? Joe LeCobb, Dan Friedkin, or Jose Feliciano?
Well, Friedkin is the one that's got the big notoriety here in the States. He's a San Diegan. I did not realize that till this weekend, but he's based out of Houston, and he's an entrepreneur. I mean, he's a tremendous sports entrepreneur. Feliciano comes from the Caribbean. He almost bought the Denver Broncos, but he was not the one that was chosen. LeCobb obviously wanted to be in baseball, owns the Golden State Warriors, got a very good track record of quality performance as an owner. But Friedkin really enthralls me because he's been close on purchases before, and he's diversified. He's got interest in a lot of different things. So maybe Friedkin's going to be the guy. That the stories that are being written by the national people who have contacts with those potential owners are the opinion that the price tag is going to be $2.5 billion, which will be an all-time record for a major league team. And they think something is going to happen by the last week of February, which is only a couple weeks out. So this is going to turn, and then it's got to get voted and approved by the fellow owners. But I would think Friedkin or LeCobb might be one of the guys.
Now, these guys are all like legit billionaires.
Oh, yes.
So they have this is not Jeff Morad buying the team on layaway. Mm-hmm. So can you imagine a situation where any of these three guys decided to, hey, man, I just bought a new toy. Let's throw some money to A.J. Preller, see what he can cook up. I mean, do you think we could get a situation where A.J. Preller suddenly has like an open checkbook?
Yeah, but there's no players out there at this late date. We're talking about this ownership group coming in. Then what does 2027 look like, John? Is that work stoppage out there on the horizon?
Oh, yeah,
that's a big issue. Is there going to be a salary cap if there is a work stoppage? So whatever magic numbers are out there right now in terms of payroll, they'll be different by the time we get to November 1st when there could be a work stoppage. So, but we need, if indeed the Seidlers are cashing in their chips, then my own gut feel, we say thank you. Thank you for what Peter Seidler has brought to baseball. Maybe not so much what this current Seidler leadership group has brought, because they haven't really done very much. But just say thank you, because they made Padre baseball relevant. They made Padre baseball important. Padre baseball has just become spectacular in the fabric of our downtown community. So we just say thank you, and they're going to move off on the horizon with a big payday. And here comes the next one. I hope it's the right guy, well heeled. But how a new incoming owner is going to operate is going to be dependent on what they work out. If there is a work stoppage, if there is a luxury tax, if there's a salary cap, if there's a Florida spending. So a lot of unanswered questions going forward.
Peter Seidler was the dream owner.
Yes.
I mean, not only was he loaded and wanted to spend on the team, but he was a man of the people, you know, and he was a guy that he was emotionally invested in making this team a winner, bringing a championship parade to San Diego. And he was all in. Yep. And how often do you get an owner, it's like a tightwad, or an owner that's, emotionally disconnected from his team, only sees it as a business asset? I mean, I understand business people are going to be business people, but it's rare to have an owner just to go all in with you as a fan.
Yep. And when he first did it, immediately the national media said, sustainability, how are you going to continue to do this? And Peter said, don't worry about that. We'll just continue to do it. And they did for a group of years until he obviously had the relapse and he passed away. But they've done a great job. The product has really been good. The fans have embraced baseball. This is such a melting pot community. The stadium is a destination point. And I swear to you, they've taken every dollar out of Petco Park they can humanly take. I don't know how much more they can charge.
Oh, they could take more.
Okay, maybe you say.
Well, they sell out like 80% of the games. Mm-hmm. So the ticket prices, I mean, yeah, I'm not saying we want them to do this, but they could probably bump them up and still sell out.
if the product continues to be good and elite.
Yeah.
So, but the landscape of what baseball is going to be by the time we get to October, November, we don't know. And that could change a lot of different things here. But it's a really good question. Thank you. Hope you'll join us again.
Okay, let's go to our friend Joseph. Hey, Lee and John, for fun, with the beginning of spring training, please give us your Padres all-time starting 9 plus 4 starters. Do you include Tatis Machado over Ozzie Smith and Ken Caminiti? Thanks, Joseph from Brazil.
Well, I think in terms of longevity, Machado has had a much longer career at a higher level of productivity. Caminiti was there for a shorter period of time, but was a great player and a very strong personality. So I would assume that Caminiti's right there. Tatis has to have a position. Is Tatis better than Ozzie Smith? Well, Tatis has been more star in outfield than he's been at shortstop, but you got Tony Gwynn in right field here.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
What are we doing here? Ricky Henderson was here for 15 minutes over the course of a Hall of Fame career. Is Ricky the greatest center fielder, or is it Steve Finley? In terms of pitching, yeah, Kevin Brown was great, but he wasn't one of us. Kevin Brown came here, has moved all over the checkerboard wherever the paycheck was. Kevin Brown went somewhere else. But again, we got to the World Series with Kevin Brown. So it's kind of hard to say an all-time greatest team. Are they ours, homegrown, et cetera, or are they from somewhere else just coming through the gate?
Well, I think your outfield, you got to think of Tatis as an outfielder. So your outfielder's got to be Tatis, Dave Winfield, right, and Tony Gwynn. Right? That has to be the outfield. And yeah, Caminiti was good but not great. Machado is Hall of Fame great. Do you keep Ozzie at short if you see him just as a shortstop? Yeah, you probably could make that argument. He's already in the Hall of Fame now. You have Roberto Alomar at second. Who's your first baseman? Maybe the crime dog? You can go, way back to McCovey. At catcher, it's got to be Benito. And who do you have in your pitching staff? You probably have PV in there, maybe Bruce Hurst. I don't know.
Short period of time.
Yeah.
Trevor Hoffman for sure.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a fun exercise.
Good. Joe, thank you.
Okay, and let's go here to Flash Bainey. Hey, Lee and John, father of 13 from Las Cruces. Would you consider the Super Bowl the worst or Super Bowl V? Great show as always.
Well, I can't recall who was in Super Bowl V. You have to check your smartphone on that. I think the most lopsided Super Bowl was what the Chicago Bears did to New England when it was 46-10. That was modern-day football, 1985. This one, it was really lopsided going into the fourth quarter. Like I quoted, the total offense at the start of the fourth quarter was 295-78. That was terrible. But at the end of the day, Seattle was a great, complete football team. And obviously this was a young quarterback, young left tackle, young left guard, just totally overwhelmed. Defense, I thought the Patriots defense just played their hearts out, and they ran out of gas at the end. You can't be on the field I think they're on the field 65 plays going into the fourth quarter already, and they just never got off the field. What are you trying to show me here?
Yeah, the Super Bowl V. It was in 1971.
Dallas versus Washington?
No, Baltimore 16, Cowboys 13.
Oh, okay.
Was Johnny Unitas still playing back then?
Might have been.
He might have been. I'm just trying to think of...
The Super Bowl here, was that Washington with Doug Williams?
Yeah, that was a huge second quarter.
That Denver thing? That was a destruction, too.
Hey, by the way, have you seen there's a new Elway documentary on Netflix. It's really good. And it walks him through his whole career, including that game in 1988 at Qualcomm. But, okay, I hate to say this, really, but the Chargers 49ers Super Bowl was a rough go.
That was very lopsided. That was a blowout, too.
Yeah. But, I'm trying to think of any really bad Super Bowls.
Well, I think the Refrigerator Perry Chicago Bears win.
Well, that was like impressive because of the greatness of the Bears. But last night's game, it was fine. I was entertained. It's funny. The crowd I was with, they were all in for Seattle because everyone's tired of New England winning all the time. And then Seattle's just kicking their butt up and down the field. And then suddenly, some of the people in the living room started switching sides. They're like, "Come on! I hope Patriots score." They put up showed a little spunk there at the end, but then it all fizzled.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess it was not what we expected. Some people expected. I expected defense. Others have said, well, maybe it might be a shootout because of what Drake May accomplished, but Drake May was kind of living on borrowed time at the same time.
Yeah, he was getting worked. I mean, he just had no chance out there. Okay, let's go to our friend Callan. Hey, afternoon, gents. It's nice to see the NHL guys back in the Olympics, but do you think it kills momentum for the league or for teams as a whole due to the break? Love the show as always.
3 weeks. That's the Olympic break for the National Hockey League. 3 weeks, and then they'll come back and play the final third of the schedule. I would imagine if you ask the players, 3 weeks, I need a break. Because everybody's off skates. Nobody's allowed to practice. You know, the Montreal Canadiens players are not allowed to practice with a coach during this Olympic break. The coach, they give them a week and a half off, and then they'll come back, and then they'll have joint practices, structured practices, etc. This would be a big, deep vacation break because it's such a grind. So maybe we'll see the final third of the season will be a great sprint to the playoff spots because everybody will be rested and the injured guys will be back. Now the guys playing in the Olympics will go from one, get off that plane and come back to Edmonton and do joint practices with the Oilers and then get back in for the final third of the season. So I don't think it'll destroy momentum. I think the bye weeks, which is really what it is, week and a half bye, and then everybody starts to practice, but 3 weeks total off.
See, I think baseball needs to do something like that. I like that idea. Now, help me out here. I heard people commenting online about they're missing hockey in the Olympics because I think, was it the last Winter Olympics was COVID disruptive? I can't remember.
There was, after the Sochi Olympics, which I think was 2014, then the NHL did not take part in 18 political problems. U.S. did not send athletes in 18, and in 22 we had the COVID implications.
Really?
Yes.
So this is the first time to see Team USA since 2014?
In 12 years.
In the Olympics?
Yeah.
Wow.
First time Connor McDavid and all those guys got to play for the flag.
Now that's cool. I mean, that's a must-see TV now.
Yeah, I think the other thing is we've had the experience of what just happened with, not the Frozen Four, what just happened, the tournament last winter.
Oh, the Four Nations.
Four Nations, Frozen Four. That's college hockey. But we've had the great experience with Four Nations, which is the stepping stone to the Olympics.
That was great.
And so you got all these great NHL players now going to be playing for their own flags. I mean, the quality of play is going to be spectacular.
Now, I just watched another, it was like a 2 or 3 part mini series about the Miracle on Ice team. Mm-hmm. But it was the real Herb Brooks. It wasn't, Kurt Russell and the Hollywood version.
Great reviews. I haven't seen it yet.
It really is. And I mean, Herb Brooks, man, that guy was a hard ass on his team. I didn't realize the extent of it, and just the whole storyline of how they had tryouts and they whittled down the roster and learning about how Herb Brooks was the last cut for the 1960 Squaw Valley Olympics and everything. It's a great piece. It's either on Netflix or on Prime.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It just came last week.
It's really good.
Reviews have been spectacular. Did you see the movie though?
No, I haven't seen the Kurt Russell movie.
Oh, it's great.
I've seen pieces of it. Like every once in a while it's on a Saturday afternoon.
You got to see the whole thing.
Okay,
we move on.
And let's go here to Nathan. Hey, what's up, fellas? Hey, what do you think about Miguel Andujar? Are my Padres going to get a multi-billionaire owner to help us slay the dragon, the Dodgers?
Well, we don't know what the economic rules are going to be once the new owner takes over, so we have to withhold judgment on new guy coming in, impact on the game. In terms of Andujar, serviceable, can hit. He was a really hot prospect. He came out of the Yankees organization. He had a phenomenal rookie season, home runs, batting average, and then he got hurt, and he just struggled to stay healthy. Yankees just gave up, and he went to the A's, and he kind of scuffled. He hit for average and hit some home runs, but he does not have a great glove. So coming to the Padres, he'll be a part-time first baseman, part-time DH, a little bit of pop. So we'll see. Last year in Cincinnati, and again, that's Great American Ballpark, I think he hit .315 with maybe 18 home runs. So he'll help. It's a decent acquisition. It's a one-year rental. He's no different than Jose Iglesias, and Iglesias played really, really well last season.
He's better than him. Andujar.
Yeah,
as a hitter.
As a hitter.
Now, as a fielder, no comparison.
Which is kind of surprising to me that they would not bring Iglesias back. He's still unsigned.
You know, I'm optimistic about this Andujar deal because remember going into the offseason, they needed pitching and they got King, but they need another one, and they needed some slug. And Andujar sort of kind of has a little bit of slug off of left-handed pitching. Or wait a minute, I got that backwards. Is he a left-handed hitter?
No,
or
a right-handed hitter
off of left-handed
lefties.
pitching.
All right.
So I see him cycling through the DH. Nice piece. They still need another slugger, but I saw Goldschmidt ended up going back to the Yankees.
Right.
So again, I mean, those guys are coming off the board too. It's not just the pitchers.
There's hardly anybody left.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting to see how Preller navigates to get one more pitcher. Who and how's he going to do it? Could he get somebody via trade? Yeah, but then you're creating a hole in your everyday lineup. I mean, the guy that's most tradable in the rumor out there is Cronenworth. Well, now you create a black hole at second base. So,
hey, by the way, I saw Chris Paddock. Did he go to the Marlins?
Just signed with the Marlins, 1 year low budget deal. But again, I think Preller's history is okay. We had these guys here. These guys got hurt. We're seeing the best these guys have. We're not going to bring them back.
Yeah. Paddock was a fun story in the beginning, walking in with his cowboy hat, but after a while, that fastball was kind of straight.
Yeah, and he went to Minnesota and didn't dominate, and then he got hurt again. You know, Martinez, I like Nick Martinez, but there's always been a high price tag. You know, once Cincinnati signed him to a 3-year deal at $15 million per, you were never going to get him back here in San Diego because he had this price tag that was here. And he just signed in Tampa for $13 million.
Well, before Nick Martinez was a Padre, wasn't he in Japan?
Yeah, that's where he made his mark. He had been in the States before, left, came back.
See, Preller is good at that, right? I mean, Suarez is another example of doing that sort of thing.
Oh, great example.
Yeah.
But time expired on him, too.
Yeah.
Price tag.
It's a moving target here. Okay, let's go here. Oh, this is an interesting one here from Mike Chance. Hey, the Patriots had more punting yards than offensive yards, and the kicker Myers had more points than his teammates combined. I guess that's why they call it football, because of all the kicking.
Defense rules. You know, I said it was going to be a defensive struggle. I really thought that New England would configure a way to help that quarterback, and they did not. Drake May just stood in there, took way too many hits. His offensive front got overwhelmed. They didn't have personnel to help on chip blocking. It just got worse and worse and worse to the point it was 29-7, and they had 78 or 75 yards in total offense going to the fourth quarter. That's terrible.
Yeah, Myers passed our guy LaDainian Tomlinson for points
in a game.
Yeah, and so that's something. By the way, I noticed when they introduced Meyer, he's just from Chula Vista.
Yes.
He's local guy, so that's kind of a fun story. But who was it the Seattle punter or the New England punter that was the one that was just always nailing it deep inside the 5?
It was the Seattle punter.
It was the Seattle.
Drake May had just horrid field position.
Yeah, he'd be backed up like on the 1 a few times.
At the 1, the 4, and the 5. Good luck to you. And they couldn't protect him. Oh.
But that punter for the Seahawks, was it Dickford or something like that?
Dixon. Michael Dixon.
But he I think he was like an Australian rules football player or something like that. So it's cool, when a punter does something special.
Headline today, Seattle newspapers, Superhawks. There you go.
Yeah, good on those guys, man. I'm telling you, that's huge. All right, let's go down the list here to Carlos. Hey, the game itself, not very entertaining, but the Bad Bunny halftime show was electric and had a great message of human unity, very unlike John's president, who creates hatred and divisiveness.
I'm so tired of this. And people get so ramped up about how dare you say that about him. Well, why not? Because he says a lot of stuff about other people all the time, all the negative connotations. I mean, how that is acceptable behavior from a president is just, John, it's just beyond me. How that is acceptable.
They asked him if he was going to the Super Bowl. Asked Trump if he's going to the Super Bowl. He goes, nah, it's just too far away. I mean, can you imagine him like setting foot in a Super Bowl in the San Francisco Bay Area?
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been pretty rough for him. But I agree. The Bad Bunny show is. I mean, again, I enjoyed the music. I'm completely unfamiliar with Bad Bunny's stuff, but I really enjoyed the show. It was
phenomenal entertainer.
he did a great job, you know. And did you notice like he was wearing like a football jersey? It looked almost like he had little shoulder pads in there. And he had his last name on the back, Ocasio, but he was wearing number 64, and I couldn't figure out what that meant.
You got me.
Yeah, it was all good.
It was good. I thought it was novel. It was really different. Did not have a political message. And I was just awed at the ability of them to execute all the different things that were part of that presentation. It was really cool.
There was a political messages in it, but like, for example, he said, God bless America in English. So he actually made political messages that you think that Trump and MAGA base would like to hear, you know. So, but anyways, it's just weird how which Super Bowl show are you going to watch? Are you going to switch stations? And it's like, this is really dumb that this is a thing.
Nobody watched the other one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kid Rock is, I mean, I have nothing to do with politics. Kid Rock is just a waste of time. Okay, let's go here down to Charles. He goes, hey, Bruno Mars halftime was top 3 from years ago.
Yeah, I totally forgot. I zone out on all the historical ones. I was with one friend said, and it's not his demographic. It's not my demographic, but he said, you know, The Who, the Rolling Stones. You know, do that and I'll watch it. Okay, fine.
Okay, here's an appropriate comment from Gale Force Property. Hey, shut up and talk sports.
Well, but when that man forces his opinions into the intersection where sports is, you do have to respond. And if you don't like it, that's okay, because 99.99% of everything we do is sports driven.
Yeah, but we're also talking about entertainers and stuff for things. And it's okay every once in a while. Retro here on the live stream. Hey, surprise Hacksaw podcast not being aired on KPBS. I know you're one of their supporters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're a PBS guy. Okay, there's a few other interesting comments here. Oh, this is the one here from Derek. Today I learned that YASIEL Puig hasn't been in Major League Baseball since 2019.
Well, he was exiled because he became a poor player. He was never great defensively, and then they found flaws in what he could do at home plate, and then he got all the junk off the field, and he's had a lot of problems off the field, and then there were injuries tied in. So he's been in a lot of different places, and he's going to be playing in the penal league next year.
Now, didn't he, obviously the Dodgers, but I know he played for the Reds. Did he play for the White Sox?
No, I don't think so.
No,
but He was
the Diamondbacks. I can't remember. There was one other MLB team I think he was on.
Yeah, but he's been in Korea, Japan, Mexico, and now he'll be playing in the penal league next year.
I know exactly. You know. Okay, and what does this say here? This is from what's this? Ismad. Puig is 2013. Look it up. And the FBI FM did it without a lawyer, and he doesn't speak English. And the poor guy. I mean, right here. This is another one here from ME. Puig's rookie year was June 2013. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I remember when that hit. Again, we got a lot of people piling in here, but I try to get as many different new names involved. And let's go here to Phenom. Love the Super Bowl, hit the under, and Seattle made some nice moolah. Seattle was clearly the best team this year.
Yeah, very much so. Complete football team. And that was with a down cycle stretch in the middle of the season where Darnold was throwing a ton of interceptions. And then they tightened the screws in the offensive front, and they got better and better and better. And just, you know, I talked extensively about John Schneider, the general manager. What a job of roster building he has done via the draft, via some free agents, and then obviously what he's been able to do in terms of trades. He fixed that defensive front with all these transactions.
Yeah, he's kind of a scruffy dude, you know. It's just definitely not in the limelight, but it just seems like both him and McDonald, neither one of them are, flashy guys.
Not household names.
No, they're not at all. But boy, they got it done. It was cool to see. What's her name? Paul Allen's wife. What's her first name? Is it Julia, or I can't remember her name. Jody. It's Jody Allen. And I mean, that's I think it was cool that, Paul Allen, of course, was the co-founder of Microsoft with Bill Gates. And then he bought the Trailblazers and the Seahawks. And it was just a real Northwest thing.
Well, he bought them to prevent them from being moved to Los Angeles because a guy by the name of Ken Berrien, a real estate guy, bought the team from the Nordstroms, own the Nordstrom's department store.
Yeah.
He bought the team, and he was going to move it out of the kingdom and move it to L.A., and then got blocked. And then he went back to Seattle, and they hated him. The product on the field was terrible. And then Paul Allen entered the scene, I want to say 2018. And I met Paul Allen, just absolutely, when I was doing the Seahawks.
Really?
Yeah, they brought him into the booth one day just before kickoff, and he listened to my broadcast. He knew who I was in San Diego, and
nice.
But I didn't have much time to talk to him because we were about to go on the air. But and he introduced himself to me. I just turned around, and here's these 5 people standing there on the level above us on Radio Row, and he just reached over and said, "Lee, Paul Allen." I said, "Mr. Allen."
Wow. Good for you.
Rich people. So
they're going to sell the team, though, the Allen family, right?
They are now. It's been in the Allen estate, and the league rules are you have to get it out of the estate. There has to be a point control person. So it will be sold.
Okay.
So this is cool.
Hopefully it lands in good hands. Okay, here, let's go to our friend Joe. Sonny Jurgensen and Roman Gabriel went to the same high school in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Sonny wound up going to Duke. He was cut from a different cloth. He was a fun guy. And he lived every minute of every day. Trust me on that. He'd walk into that radio booth at RFK Stadium in Washington smoking a stogie. I mean, a big cigar, and that's who he was. He'd wear cowboy hats. He did not look like anything as it relates to living in Washington, D.C.
Well, I've seen just some of the pictures of him. He was a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and you could tell that he was like a beer-drinking, hell-raiser kind of guy, right?
He threw 255 touchdowns and 189 interceptions, and he didn't care.
Okay, so now here's another blast from the past. Norm Van Brocklin. Did he play for the Redskins, too, or was he a Lions?
No, Norm Van Brocklin played for the Rams.
The Rams.
Way back.
Okay.
In the 40s, he might have come into the league in the late 40s, into the 50s, and then he got traded from the Rams to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they won a championship in 1960 with Norm Van Brocklin.
Interesting.
And then Sonny got drafted. Jurgensen got drafted to be the heir apparent to Norm. Van Brocklin might have retired and might have tried to become a general manager. And Sonny took over, and then he was there for a couple of years, and then there was the big quarterback trade, and he went from Philly to Washington, and he was really good. Washington was a really bad franchise, but, man, he made them competitive.
Interesting. And then John Brody just left us, too.
Yes, a week ago.
So, yeah, that's something. Okay, here's Phenom has some breaking news for us. He says ESPN just reported Lindsey Vonn suffered a complex tibia fracture and needs multiple surgeries.
Well, the first one was to reset it, but obviously there's a lot more damage. I mean, I saw different angles of the video, and I mean, she was good. She went down that slope for more than 100 yards. And it wasn't just the body going down. There was the body with the legs twisted and the skis. The skis did not come off.
So that knee is just getting torqued.
Everything's getting torqued, leg included. So kind of like compound fractures.
Wow, that's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, just brutal. Okay, let's go here to Alejandro. Hey, which teams have a better chance of going to the World Series?
That's a good question. Boston's had as active an off-season as anybody in Major League Baseball. And the unique thing about the Red Sox is they've made all these transactions to go get pitching and other players, and obviously got involved in free agents. They have not given up any of their young guys. They still have a whole component of prospects from their system. So you got the Red Sox in the East and the Dodgers. Dodgers are still the same team, and now they added Kyle Tucker and they added Edwin Diaz, and they're going to get injured guys back. I mean, all these pitchers that have had surgeries, most all of them are about ready to come back and be part. So Boston might be a bit of a surprise. Baltimore has made a lot of trades. Baltimore's changed a lot of things and added to what was a really good young lineup, you know, going to get Pete Alonso and other people. Baltimore's going to be worth watching. We'll talk more baseball in the next week or so as these teams pour into the Cactus League Grapefruit Circuit. We'll be talking a lot more baseball.
Dodgers Invitational. I mean, really. I mean, that's what it's going to be. I mean, I'm not hating on the Dodgers for that, but I mean, they're clearly the best team.
Yep.
And you think the Yankees maybe? I mean, you got Aaron Judge on that team. I mean, they got to be competitive every year.
But they haven't added anything from the outside, and they still have half their rotation coming off surgery. So I don't see how the Yankees can be much of a team. The Mets have added a lot of pieces. So maybe
but they're the Mets.
But
and they have Soto.
Well, they got Soto, but they got a lot of young pitchers who now maybe take another step forward. And they've added a lot of pieces from the outside to fill in holes. So we'll talk more about it. Just give me a week. Take a deep breath here from football and let me dive into baseball. We'll talk a lot more about that.
Yeah, pitchers and catchers reporting. That's a good vibe.
Best word you can hear, especially if you're living in the snow belt.
Okay, all right. Let's switch gears. We're going to go to our friends on social media and get everyone involved. Okay, let's talk some Kings hockey here. And this is from Clearing the Benches. He goes, as a New York Rangers fan, I'm glad he's gone. One big year and the rest above average. Kings should have traded for, who is that? Trocheck?
Yes.
Instead, Panarin's points were fraudulent. He was never in the conversation with McDavid, McKinnon, Makar, or even Celebrini. Look into Liam Greentree and his line mate Ethan Belches in Windsor. If Rangers draft him, they have the next Lindros and Leclerc 2.0. Love, yes, saw from border to border, coast to coast.
Well, at the end of the day, the Rangers, they are having the worst season since 1945. I mean, they're in last place. And when you consider how many stars and how much money is being paid to all those guys, Panarin, he's got 230-plus career goals. I mean, the guy is a sniper, and he's age 31, and the Kings signed him for 2 more years. So, but the Kings are 29th in the NHL in scoring. The Kings need firepower. So he comes in here. As soon as we come off this Olympic break, he's going to have to hit the ice running, and they're going to have to score goals because they need to pull themselves back into this NHL playoff race. And they have a lot of age, and they have a lot of high payroll guys on that team. So it's kind of desperation time for the Kings. And in terms of the other guys, it's kind of stunning because you look at this team stats and you say, how could this team be in last place? You know, Trocheck is a really fine goal scorer, and Zibanejad is a great veteran player. You say, how the hell could these guys be in last place? And Shesterkin is, I think, a tremendous goalie. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes the system's wrong, the coach is wrong. Sometimes the general manager's wrong. I'm not convinced Chris Drury's the right general manager at Madison Square Garden. That's the West Coast opinion from San Diego about the guy at MSG in the Big Apple.
Border to border, coast to coast, hacksaw,
Damn right.
Covering it all. Okay, let's go here. Talk some. This is cool. This is a little bit. No, not that one. Excuse me. Let me get this one in here first. And it's the Padres comment. This is from Barstool Logic. You giving him money back. Did you see how quickly he backtracked on that statement?
Well, he backtracked on the retirement part of the statement. He said these talks are continuing about what we're going to do, and the agent says it's very complex because Yu's not walking away from baseball. Yu's going to be kind of a consultant. So my theory is, okay, give him $2 million of the $14 million. Ask him to defer everything else. Take the other 12 that would be due this year, use it to go get more pitching. And then when you get to the end of 26, after he's done his rehab, he'll know whether he can throw again. And if he can pitch, then let him come back and pitch under terms of the last year or two of the final contract. But he's an honorable guy. He's a different guy. You know, and he's the guy that made the statement, I didn't earn that money. That's not my money. So maybe he will do the honorable thing and give them money back for the year he's not going to pitch, because they've taken care of him each of the past couple of years when he's been out for the extended chunks of time. So it bears watching. It is very complicated. And historically, guys have not given money back, but he's the one that brought this up. It's not my money.
Well, I think the fact that they backtracked on it was their way of saying, hey, man, we're not giving up the total contract value. Maybe we'll defer. Mm-hmm. You know, it will help you spread it out and kind of ease the pain. But you're not going to leave money on the table. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's sad that the Padres, if everything we've been talking about is really what's happening, they can't spend any more money, so they're stuck. You know, with this Darvish thing, it stinks that they have to be kind of hanging on a thread to see if Darvish kind of wants to resolve this.
He seems to indicate, if you read between the lines, he'd like to help them. Okay, so that's starting point number one. Let's just see what that help looks like, and go from there. You know, the other item, and we won't pay much attention to it yet, but they know baseball. Preller knows pitching. He's found all kinds of pitching. It may well be on the side list of all these, they've signed 21 free agents, I believe, now to contracts. Maybe there's an odd pitcher or two there that's going to be a discovery. You know, and when they brought Suarez from Japan, I said, you gave him $5 million? Nobody over here knows what he can do. Look what he became. You gave Martinez name. Martinez became trustworthy for that year and a half that he was here. So Preller knows pitching. So maybe on that side list of pitchers, we had it on a full screen board a couple weeks ago. Maybe that side list, there's a pitcher or two that Preller's going to have that winds up being a find or a short-term rental that contributes.
I remember the spring training after they got Suarez, and I'm watching him, on the TV, and I'm like, this dude's different. I mean, the way that ball came out of his hand and had that exploding like next gear when it was like 2/3 of the way down towards the plate, and he was just dotting it, inside corner, low and outside. He was just getting it all. That was a special signing. I'll bet you he probably had competitive bids if he was that talented. I mean, Preller, he's got boots on the ground. He can find the talent, but other teams have boots on the ground too.
But Suarez was not dominant in Japan. He was just a guy.
Really?
Yeah, and then he came here.
But he looked out of the gate. His first out of the gate, he blew the game against the Diamondbacks on opening night. Yep. But after that, he was fantastic on his first year.
And sidebar to that, that's Ruben Niebla.
Yeah.
So if we got this list of 21 free agents, 9 of them I think are pitchers, now you put Niebla's fingerprints on some of these guys they brought in, maybe he solves Tristan McKenzie out of Cleveland.
No, that'd be nice.
So, again, McKenzie had that flash. For a year and a half before he got hurt, he was really electric. So, let's trust Preller and his people that here's this list of guys we've gotten out of AAA or minor leagues. Let's just see what you can do with Ruben to make them better. Because look what he did with Martinez. Look what he did with Suarez.
Yeah, you got to give your coaching staff an opportunity to get these guys right. But I know there's a lot of big time names that aren't signed.
Wide variety of reasons.
Wide variety of reasons. But I wonder if we get in the camps are going to open here, I think next week, right?
The end of this week.
End of this week. So they're going to start playing spring training games in like a couple of weeks. I wonder if guys like Zach Gallen are still going to be hanging around. I wonder if some of those guys could be the odd man out in a musical chairs game.
Problem with Gallen is you got to give up a second-round draft pick because he was given a qualifying offer they rejected.
Yeah, he's going to land somewhere. But some of those other names, like on this list, here's the list. I'll pull it back up. Like Walker Buehler or Herman Marquez, Michael Kopech.
Yeah, but see, every one of those guys, Gallen has draft pick compensation. Gialito has had shoulder problems. He's not the same pitcher he used to be. Bassett had an injury at the end, but Bassett pitched in the World Series, pitched okay. Martinez is gone. Quintana's got a lot of mileage on him. He had shoulder problems. Littell is healthy, but Littell is somebody's number 5. Buehler's got all this upside, but he's now twice had forearm problems. John Gray, I don't think is ready to start. Marquez was great and spent a year and a half hurt. And Kopech is a relief pitcher who's hurt. We don't need him. There's not very many guys who say, okay, come join my roster and be part of my rotation immediately, outside of maybe Bassett and Quintana. And I didn't. When I saw Gialito last year, I didn't like anything I saw about him, and that's why he's probably unsigned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think some of these guys may not have a job until we're into the season, kind of like Michael Conforto. That happened to him that one year.
And, he's still out of a job. He's not signed.
Right. So, he's going to maybe be the odd man out again.
The rumor is that Gallen may go back to Arizona on just a 1-year prove-it contract, and they can't offer him a qualifying offer a second year in a row. So he could then be unrestricted with no form of compensation.
But that's that he loves that franchise because they treated him really well.
He's pitched pretty well there. I mean, he's got a bit of warrior in him. I really like him.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, this is kind of fun. Some of the Charger memories. This is from Conrad. This is based on the memories of the Super Bowl that you broadcast, Super Bowl 29 for the Chargers and Niners. And Conrad said, the San Diego Chargers are dead. They don't exist anymore. The fact this franchise only made the Super Bowl one time in its entire existence shows the pathetic ownership. Good riddance to that terrible franchise, and go Rams.
Okay, that's fine. Now, but you're begrudging the guys that did something nobody had ever else done at the cost of you hate the ownership. You got a right to hate. I got a right to hate. But at the end of the day, Padre fans running up and down the street, they talk about going to the World Series against the Detroit Tigers or against the Yankees. Those didn't work out very well, and yet people kind of fondly remember that. Nobody fondly remembers the Charger run to the Super Bowl and all of that spectacular 94 season. They won all those critical games and how it galvanized the community. I mean, you have a right to hate on the owner, rightfully so, but should you not pay respects to all those players and that coaching staff and Bobby Beathard that gave us one calendar year of unbelievable football excitement? I mean, John, you tell me, you're a big fan.
It's just the fact that they left us, you know. So it's like, you know, the girlfriend bad breakup kind of thing, and so people are still bitter about it, and it sucks, you know. I mean, and there's a lot of people here in town that still long for the day of the NFL coming back to San Diego, but I think that ship has sailed.
Well, until demographics change, but you have a stadium. Somebody has to build a stadium. How's that possible?
Yeah, I don't see it possible. There's no way they can expand Snapdragon, can they? Because they were talking about building a new stadium down in Chula Vista somewhere. Yeah, but that's just a pipe dream, right? Yeah, well, talk is cheap. You got to pay for the land, you got to pay for the construction of the stadium, and then you got to find a team that's going to move here, or maybe a team you're going to buy. It's too far-fetched. I don't think we'll ever see it in our lifetime, sadly. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay,
and it is odd because I just get the sense there's more and more people that believe what Conrad believes, that they screwed us and it's like they don't exist in our soul anymore. I find that hard to believe, but I had an attachment because I did the games for so long, and I had such regard for how hard it is to win in the NFL and what the community got out of that one mystical season.
Well, you're always going to be linked to the Chargers. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're part of Chargers history. I mean, 100% right there in the storybook, the history books of the Chargers. But yeah, it is tough. I mean, you know, a lot of fans have moved on. Like at the Super Bowl party I was at, one of the guys there said, "Oh yeah, I was hardcore Chargers guy," but then when they moved out, I just I didn't pay attention. Mm-hmm. They were like off the list. And sure, I watched the NFL peripherally, and I was listening to the guy say this, and that's what I did too. You know, I kind of took a step back from having an emotional connection to a team, and would follow lightly, but I would still follow basketball and baseball more. But doing this podcast with you has kind of brought me back into the NFL, and I enjoy it. But I just I find myself getting sucked into kind of rooting for the Chargers.
It's interesting because I had a neighbor who moved out, but he was at the Super Bowl party yesterday, and he said, "You did the Seahawks too." I said, "Yeah, I did." After the Chargers left our station, I got hired by Seattle, and I went up there for 3 years, and I was there in the transition as they went from bad to Mike Holmgren's arrival, and they got really, really good. And then he started talking to me, "What's it like up there?" And I said, it just hysterical. I said, "These fans are unbelievable." And I told them stories about the old Kingdome, and then when they played at Husky Stadium, and now what Lumen Stadium is, and this whole 12th man concept that they've developed up there. I said, it is a great place to watch a game. So I said, yeah, I got a little bit of emotional attachment there. So I'm kind of rooting for the Seahawks. I still got friends that work in the organization, and friends, the guys doing the games now is my color analyst, longtime wide receiver, Steve Rabel. Great gentleman. And he's been there through real thick and real thin.
Wait, Rabel?
Yeah.
Same last name as the coach?
No, Rabel.
Oh, Rabel. Okay.
Yeah, wide receiver.
Okay.
Yep. He was my color guy. He's been there doing the games forever. So that was interesting. But so, yeah, you get, when you're close and within, you know how it operates. You know the people, the successful people, the ones that screwed it all up. And you learn a lot. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, your career is very interesting to follow. I mean, the places you've been, the teams that you've represented, not just NFL, but, you know, professional hockey, professional baseball,
yep,
indoor soccer. What was your favorite other than football? I mean, football, it must be like the highlight of your broadcasting.
I grew up in baseball environment, so I love baseball. But I broke in hockey. I got friends all over Canada and you know, in the U.S. that played for hockey, worked for hockey teams, broadcast hockey. So I would like it all.
Okay, all good. Okay, let's talk some Dodgers baseball. And this is with Manga Dolo. And this is talking about, should the Dodgers go to the White House to visit President Trump?
Oh, boy.
This is an easy decision. Man up and boycott the invite, show some humanity, and protect our children. Not to mention their presence would indirectly, if not directly, endorse Trump's racist acts. If Dodgers go, I'll switch my fandom to the Padres or the Giants in spite. I've been a diehard Dodger fan for 48 years. Not to mention my father worked with Rachel and Sharon Robinson to get the Jackie statue built at Dodger Stadium.
Well, it's interesting because Dave Roberts has kind of indicated he wants to go for the White House experience. And it kind of twists my stomach a little bit because of all the things that his president has done. You know, taking the memorials to Jackie Robinson and the Tuskegee Airmen off the Department of Defense websites. How could you do that? And yet Dave Roberts, who I love as a person, a human being, he's a great manager. Dave Roberts, he grew up in a Japanese-American family. He knows about racism and all that. He knows about Jackie Robinson's history. And yet he wants to go stand next to his president who took and has degraded DEI and has taken all that stuff off the monuments and off the websites for the accomplishments of African Americans, and Dave Roberts wants to stand next to him. I don't know. I have a hard time accepting that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to expect the Dodgers to go because that's, quote, the right thing to do.
Tradition.
The traditional thing to do. So I think in the end they're going to probably go, but this whole thing is unnecessarily politicized. I mean, it's a shame that we got to talk about this.
But you want to stand next to a guy knowing what this guy represents, what this guy has done?
No. You like to say you're president. I'm not a supporter of Trump, but it's fun. There's one of the comments in the live chat where they were joking about having your own political talk show.
Oh, yeah, that'd go over real well, too.
I know Ted Leitner had a show like that at one time, didn't he?
Yeah, that's why I not do it anymore.
Okay, there you go.
Taught him a lesson.
Okay, let's talk Super Bowl here, and this is with Webb Yankees. He goes, hey, if Drake May can – this is before the game. If Drake May can protect and hang on to the ball when surrounded by defenders, then the Pats might win. Anyway, I'm not going to watch the woke halftime show, but Kid Rock show instead, and you should too.
Well, 138 million watched Bad Bunny and 6 million watched Kid Rock. That tells you a lot. So, hey, everybody's got a choice to make. Everybody has their own vote when next November rolls around. You do what you want to do, and we'll see where it goes forward. In terms of Drake May, it's just a learning process. There's a mental clock you have to have in your head as a quarterback to get the ball out of there. And he took 21 sacks in 4 games in the playoffs against really good defenses. There's just a mental clock that he will have to adopt. If you can't see it, then get rid of the football. Don't take a hit. Don't take a sack. Obviously, don't turn the football over. He did so much of that. It's just not on Drake May. His protection was really poor. And that whole left side of that front with they've played all those kids, that whole left side totally got exposed by blitzes and the whole package that not just Seattle ran, but obviously what Houston did and what Denver did and what the Chargers tried to do. So they'll be better. This is a learning curve experience. New England's got a lot of really good players, and they're going to get more. But hey, hats off to Super. How about the Super Hawks? What a job they did.
Yeah, I mean, they were the dominant team. Mm-hmm. But here, Webb Yankee really called it out. His if statement was the if statement, wasn't it? If Drake May can protect and hang on to the ball when surrounded by the defenders, then the Pats might win. And I think that didn't happen. I mean, that if did not work.
He had so many 3-and-outs. The defense was on the field for so long, and then finally defense fourth quarter caved.
Yeah, and it just seemed that, the coverage by the Patriots, by the Seahawks defensive backs.
8 pass deflections.
Yeah, and so, he's going through his progressions, and he runs out of time. So to your point, the internal clock, but
that comes with experience.
So he likely probably thought in the regular season he had another beat or maybe 2 beats, but he could get the ball off. But the Seahawks were like in his face, and then Will Campbell was on skates.
And the other factor is regular season, they played the easiest schedule in the league. He wasn't facing Seahawk defense in the regular season.
But they faced a really good defense in the playoffs. All three teams.
Oh, yeah.
The Chargers and was it Houston and Denver?
Right.
They all had good defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wild. Okay, let's bounce around here. Let's talk some San Diego State Aztec basketball with Rick. And he says, too many players in the rotation leads to inconsistency. Brian Dutcher needs to stick with his starters, period. In an age where players are one and done with the NIL, he doesn't need to rotate all of his players for fear they'll leave. They're going to leave regardless when the money gets offered. So why not play to win with starters?
Well, he doesn't have the big guy, Guath, and who knows when he's going to come back. So they're a little bit deficient in one aspect in terms of shot blocking and to a degree a little bit of rebounding. My concern about San Diego State is Miles Byrd has just been highly erratic. You just never know what you're going to get. The other thing is we see spurts, and John and I have talked extensively about there are games where DeGorville looks like a real wheeler dealer, and there are games in which that freshman, Tay Simmons, wow. And then there's obviously Compton. He plays beyond his physical abilities with the big boys. So there's enough firepower there that there are different guys that get hot that'll help them. But geez, if they could get Bird back to be what Bird was expected to be, this would be a really dangerous team. But it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, Bird is still a key guy on that team and all the other things that he does. But it is a fair point to bring up is about having an 11-man deep rotation because when everyone's healthy, it's 11. I mean, thank God with those injuries to Elzy and Magoon that they've still got 9 guys. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I mean, some of those guys, like, you know, Sean Newman is never going to be a starter. You know, he's kind of like your second or third option at the point. So in the end, you just got to trust Dutcher, right? This is all going to work out. And, you know, could players have maybe, if they didn't get playing time, be bitter and leave next year? Yeah, that can always happen. But I think it's about keeping a good kind of chemistry in the clubhouse because you got 11 guys that know they can play. And if they got sidelined, you can get some, you know, cancers in the clubhouse. It can get a little ugly, right?
Yeah. Well, they've never had that history. I mean, the team first has always been the motto, and it's been the success nature of what Steve Fisher built and what Dutcher does.
The team. That's what Fisher always said.
And the team's been pretty good.
Yeah.
But they're just really hot and cold right now. I mean, we've still got, 3 weeks before they go to the Mountain West Conference tournament. So we'll just see if they can get Guath back. I don't know. But then we'll just see, can Miles Byrd be what Miles Byrd should be? And if he can become an offensive threat on a consistent basis, then that looks like a pretty dangerous team. Otherwise, it's hit and miss.
They've still got to go on the road to New Mexico. They got to, I think, go on the road to Colorado State.
Boise.
Or is it Boise?
Boise.
Okay, and then I think UNLV comes here, Nevada comes here.
Yeah, the rest of the games are winnable here, but those roadies. And then they got to go play in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, they can only really afford to lose one more game in conference. I know they're on the bubble. Like, if it ended right now and they had to go for the at-large berth, they're on the edge. And even if they got in, they'd probably be in Dayton for the play-in game, playing in North Carolina or something.
They don't have hardly any quad one wins.
Yeah. But you know what? Hopefully Elzy and Magoon are back. And I mean, those two guys are very impactful, especially if you have Magoon being that rim protector. It just changes everything.
Yeah, but it's been almost a year since the knee injury. Now he's got the hip issue. That's a long time.
Isn't it? It's just great, though, having a big-time program here in town. I mean, they're a legit team. They should have won at Grand Canyon. You know, they should have obviously beaten Troy State. It would have been nice if they would have beaten, what was it, Baylor? Mm-hmm. They didn't, but they don't have they beat Houston last year. They don't have one of those. Yep. So it'll be tough for them.
Okay, let's do one more here before we wrap it up.
Okay, so we got a choice here. We could do some hacksaw love or some slap shot. You want to talk slap shot?
Let's do slap shot hockey.
Okay, this one here is a little bit long. I'm going to read it, but it's really good, okay?
This is about the movie Slapshot and how the movie was made based on who those guys were. Those were 3 brothers that played for the Johnstown Jets in the North American Hockey League. That was the genesis of the movie. The Carlson brothers were then portrayed as the Hansen brothers in the movie Slapshot. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this video clip, by the way, is just like evergreen. Everyone always comments on it, and this was recorded like 2 or 3 years ago. Hey, the three Carlson brothers and David Hansen all played for the Johnstown Jets that beat the, Broome County Dusters
In Binghamton, yes.
in 4 straight games to win the 1975 NAHL championship. Dave Hansen, along with Jack and Jeff Carlson, each accumulated about 250 penalty minutes each. Steve Carlson had less than 100 PIMs, but scored 30 goals. The best series of that playoff season was when the Jets played the Syracuse Blazers in the NAHL semifinals and won the series 4-3. The 7th game was a 5-4 win in overtime to put J-Town into the finals. I wish there were some game films of those games. That must have been some awesome hockey.
Well, I would bet Johnstown, Pennsylvania is a small town. I think they have 2 TV stations. I would bet those TV stations have access to the old videos from the North American Hockey League and the Johnstown Jets from way back there. Either that or maybe, technology is great. Google, YouTube, Johnstown Jets. That's your homework. Just to see what you can come up. I'm sure if you looked, you could probably find some videos. But that's it. They are 3 brothers from Minnesota that came to the North American Hockey League, which was like AA hockey at that point. And they brawled their way into first place, and they created mayhem. And then they scattered to the wind, and 1 or 2 of them went up to the World Hockey Association. One of the brothers, Steve Carlson, the one on the left, has fought a courageous battle against cancer, and he's beaten it a couple times. And he's on Twitter a bunch of times. So, and the fourth guy was Dave Hansen, who was a tough guy winger, and Dave played one of the brothers. So, 85% of that story in the movie is true because I was there.
Well, you were the broadcaster of another team in the same...
Mohawk Valley Comets.
Interesting.
And we played them in Christmas time. First game that those guys started, and they came out and they brawled right from the get-go. And we got destroyed. We didn't have a great team. We got destroyed. And then they terrorized the entire league. And then they came into our building, and as a segment of the movie, where those guys went into the stands after the fans, that was in our building. I broadcast that game.
Wow.
It was just an absolute amazing story.
Well, when we did the Slapshot piece a few years ago, it's just cool hearing the stories because you were on the bus with with minor league hockey guys. That must have been a kind of a rough and tumble world.
Yeah, drinking beer and it was unbelievable. But you know what? Google on YouTube if you want. So how do they see the segment we did on the history of Slapshot?
Yeah, well, if you just look up Slapshot Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, I'm sure it'll come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're a hockey fan, you'll get a kick out of watch that video. Everybody else has. It's got 300,000 views.
Well, it's up there. Yeah.
Every hockey fan in the world is there. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. We're here Thursday at 1:30. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. They've been in business over 100 years. Got projects, they've got materials. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. John, we'll be back Thursday. We're going to start to dive into a lot more spring training baseball. Probably be some more player deals, too. And we'll begin coverage of the NFL offseason because I guarantee you there's going to be a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, plus the Olympics. There's a lot going on.
And how about them Superhawks?
The Superhawks.
Hey, thank you for being with us, being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.